The 33rd session of the Senate in the first regular session of the 20th Congress is hereby called to order. Senator Risa Ontiveros will lead the chamber in prayer.
Sa ngalan ng Ama at ng Anak, ng Espiritu Santo. Amen. Prayer for Human Rights Day. Sa paggunita natin sa araw ng karapatang pantao, O Panginoon, Diyos ng hustisya at kahabagan, bigyan niyo kami ng tapang para tumindig kasama ng mga isinasa-isang tabi. Karunungan para protektahan ang mga nasa panganib.
Ilan na? The session is resumed. Secretary, please call the roll.
Roll call of members. The Honorable Senator Aquino, Senator Cayetano Alan, Senator Cayetano Pia, Senator De La Rosa, Senator Ejercito, Senator Escudero, Senator Estrada, Senator Gatchalian, Senator Go, Senator Ontiveros, Senator Lacson, Senator Lapid, Senator Legarda, Senator Marcoleta, Senator Marcos, Senator Padilla, Senator Pangilinan, Senator Tulfo Erwin, Senator Tulfo Rafi, Senator Villanueva, Senator Villar Camille, Senator Villar Mark, Senator Zubiri. The Senate President is present.
With 15 senators present, the chair declares the presence of a quorum. The Majority Leader.
Mr. President, I move that we dispense with the reading of the journal of the 31st session, December 3 and 4, 2025, and consider the same as approved.
Any objection? There being none, the motion is approved.
Mr. President, I move that we defer the approval of the journal of the 32nd session, Tuesday, December 9th, 2025.
Any objection? There being none, the motion is approved.
Mr. President, I move that we proceed with the reference of business.
The Secretary will proceed with the reference of business.
Message from the House of Representatives, letter from the House informing the Senate that on 3 December 2025, it passed the following House bills in which it requests the concurrence of the Senate. House Number 87, an act mandating and institutionalizing rollover data allocation scheme and providing for penalties.
Referred to the Committee on Public Services.
House Number 5939, an act allowing the Department of Education the flexibility to determine the pedagogical approaches to be implemented in the basic education curriculum, amending for the purpose Section 5 of Republic Act Number 10533 or the Enhanced Basic Education Act of 2013.
Referred to the Committee on Basic Education.
House Number 5663, an act renaming the University of Science and Technology of Southern Philippines to University of Science and Technology of the Philippines, amending for the purpose Republic Act Number 10919.
Referred to the Committee on Higher Education.
Bills on first reading, Senate Number 1566, an act establishing in Barangay Tablon, Cagayan de Oro City, Province of Misamis Oriental, a satellite district hospital of the Northern Mindanao Medical Center to be known as the Barangay Tablon Northern Mindanao Medical Center Satellite District Hospital, appropriating funds therefore, Senator Marcos.
Referred to the Committee on Rules.
Senate Number 1567, an act declaring the Cagayan de Oro River and its immediate environs located in the Cagayan de Oro City, Province of Misamis Oriental, a cultural heritage zone, Senator Marcos.
To the Committees on Culture and Tourism.
Senate Number 1568, an act institutionalizing an emergency medical services system, creating for the purpose the National EMSS Council and appropriating funds therefore. Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Health, Local Government, and Finance.
Senate Number 1569, an act protecting Filipinos from the harmful effects of trans fatty acids and for other purposes. Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Health, Trade, Ways and Means, and Finance.
Senate Number 1570, an act strengthening Philippine health security and emergency preparedness, readiness, and response, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes. Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Health and Finance.
Senate Number 1571, an act providing for the development of healthcare and manufacturing industries in the Philippines to strengthen the country's readiness and protection against pandemics and providing funds therefore. Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Health, Trade, Ways and Means, and Finance.
Senate Number 1572, an act providing for a national policy and regulatory framework for the Philippine telemedicine industry, promoting the delivery of health services using information and communications technologies and for other purposes. Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Health, Civil Service, government organization.
Senate Number 1573, an act regulating the registration, licensure, and practice of physical therapy and appropriating funds therefore. Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Civil Service and Finance.
Senate Number 1574, an act establishing the Liver Center of the Philippines, appropriating funds therefore. Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Health, Ways and Means, and Finance.
Senate Number 1575, an act institutionalizing the Philippine Blood Center and regional blood centers and appropriating funds therefore. Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Health, Civil Service, Ways and Means, and Finance.
Senate Number 1576, an act creating the National Nutrition Commission, repealing for the purpose Presidential Decree Number 491, entitled Creating a National Nutrition Council and for other purposes. Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Health, Civil Service, Ways and Means, and Finance.
Senate Number 1577, an act instituting a policy in blood-borne viral hepatitis testing and screening. Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Health, Labor, and Finance.
Senate Number 1578, an act recognizing the indigenous cultural communities and indigenous peoples, community-conserved territories and areas, establishing for the purpose the National ICCA Registry and appropriating funds therefore. Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Cultural Communities and Finance.
Senate Number 1579, an act granting a maternity benefit to women workers in the informal economy, amending for this purpose Republic Act Number 11210, appropriating funds therefore and for other purposes. Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Women and Finance.
Senate Number 1580, an act further promoting organ donation after death for specified purposes by amending RA 7170, otherwise known as the Organ Donation Act of 1991. Senator Ontiveros.
Referred to the Committee on Health.
Senate Number 1581, an act establishing a national integrated program to prevent and treat psoriasis as a public health problem and appropriating funds therefore. Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Health, Ways and Means, and Finance.
Senate Number 1582, an act expanding the coverage of Republic Act Number 10627, otherwise known as the Anti-Bullying Act of 2013 and for other purposes. Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Basic Education and Finance.
Senate Number 1583, an act establishing the Basulta Autonomous Region. Senator Padilla.
To the Committees on Local Government and Finance.
Resolutions.
Electoral Reforms. Local Government, Electoral Reforms, and Finance.
Resolutions. Proposed Senate Resolution 194, directing the Senate Committee on Health and Demography to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the health risks posed by unregulated supplements and other health products sold online with the end in view of strengthening health and consumer protections.
Referred to the Committee on Health.
Resolution number 195, urging the Department of Foreign Affairs and the National Historical Commission in the Philippines to secure the repatriation of the Katipunan documents from the government of Spain through all appropriate diplomatic measures and to ensure their preservation in the National Library of the Philippines. Senator Padilla.
To the Committees on Foreign Relations and Culture.
Resolution number 196, directing the Senate Committee on Health and Demography to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation on the status, utilization, and effectiveness of the Health Facilities Enhancement Program with the end in view of ensuring that public funds build functional, staff, and fully operational health facilities for all communities. Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committee on Health.
Resolution 197, directing the appropriate Senate Committee to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation into suicide prevention efforts in the Philippines with the purpose of identifying the factors that contribute to suicide, assessing the challenges in current government initiatives, and recommending policy and legislative interventions to establish an effective national suicide prevention strategy.
Referred to the Committee on Health. There is additional reference of business.
Additional reference of business bills on first reading. Senate Number 1585, an act providing for hospital benefits and other privileges for public school teachers and their dependents, appropriating funds therefore. Senator Tulfo R.
To the Committees on Civil Service and Basic Education.
Senate Number 1586, an act further amending Republic Act Number 8550 as amended by Republic Act Number 10654 to provide for a fuel subsidy and calamity relief mechanism for fisherfolk and for other purposes. Senator Tulfo R.
To the Committees on Agriculture and Finance.
Senate Number 1587, an act setting the first regular elections in the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao, amending for the purpose Section 13, Article 16 of Republic Act Number 11054 as amended, otherwise known as the Organic Law for the Bangsamoro Autonomous Region in Muslim Mindanao. Senator Zubiri.
To the Committees on Local Government, Electoral Reforms and Finance.
Senate Number 1588, an act amending Republic Act Number 11930, entitled An Act Punishing Online Sexual Abuse or Exploitation of Children, penalizing the production, distribution, possession, and access of child sexual abuse or exploitation material. Senator Ontiveros.
To the Committees on Women and Finance.
Senate Number 1589, an act establishing the Andres Bonifacio Museum in the City of Manila, appropriating funds therefore. Senator Padilla.
To the Committees on Culture and Finance.
Resolutions. Proposed Resolution Number 198, expressing the sense of the Senate to honor and recognize Andres Bonifacio as the President of the First Revolutionary Government and the sovereign nation of the Tagalog people, and urging the Office of the President, in coordination with pertinent offices, to effect this recognition through a symbolic state funeral. Senator Padilla.
To the Committee on Rules.
Resolution Number 199, directing the appropriate Senate committee to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation into the circumstances surrounding the killing of Barangay Chairperson Oscar Dodong Bupol Jr. of Barangay Tres de Mayo, Digos, Davao del Sur, in relation to concerns of possible impunity, abuse of power, and lack of protection for local government officials. Senator Padilla.
To the Committees on Public Order and Justice.
Resolution Number 200, expressing grave concern over the filing of eviction and demolition cases against 282 residents of Sitio Marihangin, Barangay Bugsok, Balabac, Palawan, including the listing of deceased persons and minor children in the summons, and calling for an immediate investigation in aid of legislation to ensure the protection of human rights and the upholding of the ancestral land rights of the indigenous Molbog community. Senator Padilla.
To the Committees on Cultural Communities and Justice.
Resolution Number 201, directing the appropriate Senate committee to conduct an inquiry in aid of legislation into the alleged extortion schemes perpetrated by officials and personnel of the Bureau of Internal Revenue through the issuance of letters of authority, with the end in view of protecting taxpayers, restoring public trust in the tax system, and recommending systemic reforms to prevent abuse of tax audits thereof, by Senator Gatchalian.
Gatchalian to? All right. Referred to the Committee on Accountability of Public Officers and Investigations. Yes, there is a correction. In the attendance, there were 16 members who responded to the roll call. Senator Bamakino was present. All right, Majority Leader.
Mr. President, before we move into the agenda for the day, we'd like to acknowledge some guests of the Senate this afternoon. Guests of Senator Francis Kiko Pangilinan, Commissioners Lorenzo Reyes and Voltaire San Pedro of the Legal Education Board, and Justice Carl Miranda of the Sandigan Bayan, Mr. President.
All right, we welcome the distinguished guests to the Senate.
Then again, Mr. President, before moving into the agenda for the day, the good gentleman from BARM and Camarines Norte is seeking the floor to make a brief manifestation.
Senator Robin Padilla is recognized.
Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo, at sa ating ginang mayorya. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Mga kagalang-galang kong kasama, una po sa lahat, ako po'y nakikiisa sa panalangin ng atin pong hinahangaang Senadora Risa Ontiveros patungkol po sa pagbibigay halaga sa araw na ito sa karapatang pangtao. Noong Disyembre 2025, 282 residente ng sitio Marihanging, Bugsok, Palawan, mga bata, matatanda, buong pamilya, kahit na po ang yumauna, ay nakatanggap ng summons at sulat na naguutos na lisanin ang kanilang tahanan sa loob ng 30 araw sa bisa ng kasong isinampa ng 9 na individual na umaangkin na sila ang may-ari ng lupang tinitirhan ng mga nasabing residente. Ngunit, ang komunidad ng Mulbog na kinabibilangan ng mga katutubo ay matagal nang naninirahan doon. Noong 2005 pa sila nag-apply para sa Certificate of Ancestral Domain Title. Ngunit, 20 taon na po itong nakabinbin, 2 dekada nang walang nangyayari. Simula nang tanggalin ng DAR ang mahigit 10,000 ektaryang lupa ng mga katutubo sa saklaw ng Comprehensive Agrarian Reform Program Extension with Reforms noong 2023, lalong naging talamak ang mga insidente ng pananakot, presensya ng armadong grupo at panggigipit. Mula pa noong nakaraang taon at hanggang ngayong 2025, ang mga lider ng Mulbog ay sunod-sunod ng kinakasuhan, inaaresto na nagdulot ng takot at pananahimik sa komunidad. Ayon sa isang ulat, isang residente daw po ang di umano'y nawalan na ng malay matapos malaman niyang isinama sa kaso ang kanyang pumanaw na anak na may kapansanan. Ginoong Pangulo, hindi na po ito simpleng usapin lamang ng titulo sa lupa. Ito ay usapin na po ng karapatang pangtao, dignidad, kabuhayan, at mismong pag-iral ng isang katutubong komunidad. Kaya naman nananawagan po ako ng agarang intervention ng Department of Agrarian Reform, National Commission on Indigenous Peoples, Department of Justice, Commission on Human Rights, at sa buong pamahalaan. Ang batas ay hindi dapat gamitin laban sa mahihina. Ito ay dapat ginagamit sa pagprotekta ng naaapi at walang laban. Naway maging kasangkapan ang ating kapulungan sa pagbibigay ng katarungan sa mga kababayan nating katutubo sa Bugsok, Palawan. Maraming salamat po.
Senator Risa Ontiveros is recognized.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Briefly, nais ko lang pong makiisa sa manifestation ng good gentleman mula sa BARM at Camarines Norte. Yang laban po ng mga miyembro ng Sambilog ay una ko na ring pinakaisahan noong taong 2004 onwards, yung binanggit po ng good gentleman, nung ako pa rin po'y party list representative ng Akbayan Party sa House of Representatives. At hari nawa po, Mr. President, sa pagpapaalala sa atin ng good gentleman tungkol sa kanilang pakikibaka, malay po natin, hari nawa, dito habang tayo naman po ay nasa Senado, ay pwede po tayong makipagtulungan para magkaroon ng isang makatarungan at mapayapang resolusyon sa pakikibaka nilang iyon. Salamat po, Mr. President, at salamat po sa good gentleman.
Maraming salamat po.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I also sympathize with the plight of our katutubos. Alam niyo po, sa amin sa Bukidnon, halos 30% po ng ating mga kababayan doon at mga silingan, yung tinatawag natin mga kapitbahay ay mga IPs. Ngunit, malaki din po ang population namin ng farmer families, mga magsasaka. Kaya ang Bukidnon po ay number 1 sa buong Pilipinas in terms of GDP output for agriculture. 7.5% po kami. We are unrivaled. Even Nueva Ecija po ay pangalawa, nasa 5% lang po ang Nueva Ecija. So, ang laki po ng output ng ating mga magsasaka sa Bukidnon. Ngunit binabalik ko po, may problema talaga dito sa issue ng lupa. Kasi yung mga naibigay po noong after the Agrarian Reform Law was passed in 1988, I don't know if you're already a member of the Senate at the time, Mr. President, in 1988.
1988,
Hindi pa?
I was Vice Mayor pa.
Okay, Mr. President. So, pasensya na lang po. I knew you were younger than that. But in 1988, they passed the Agrarian Reform Law. This was during the time of President Cory Aquino.
Yes.
And marami pong lupain ang kinuha po, just as brief manifestation in support of Senator Robin Hood Padilla. So maraming nabigay po na mga lupain sa ating mga magsasaka through the Agrarian Reform Law. And now, after which in 1989, I believe Senator Flavier, was it 1989 or 92? Yung IPRA law was shortly after passed. 1992, yung IPRA law. So, nagkagulo-gulo na because of course, yung mga lupain na binigay sa mga magsasaka, ayan po ay may mga katutubo din nung araw, pero naibigay na po ng CLOA ito mga magsasaka. So, ngayon, nagkapatong-patong ng claimants. Doon sa amin sa Bukidnon po, Mr. President, patong-patong ng claimants, grabing patayan noon. In the early 2000s, I remember one town of Don Carlos, yung lupa po ni Danding Cuangco, dati po yung CDCP, owned by Cuenca. Nabili po yan ni Danding Cuangco at ginawa po yan CDCP Farms at nagtanim po siya ng napakaraming coconuts. I remember it was the African pygmy coconut. Maliliit lang siya, yung dwarf coconut. And shortly thereafter, that was in 1982 or 83, shortly thereafter, di ba, lumabas po sila, umalis sila nung EDSA 1 at nagkaroon po ng no man's land dyan kasi ang daming claimants po ng lupa. Then pumasok po yung Agrarian Reform, dahil sabi po ng Agrarian Reform, yung Assets Privatization Trust, if you remember, all sequestered property was turned over to the Agrarian Reform program. So ibinigay po yan ng DAR sa mga tao namin sa Bukidnon. Ang naging problema po dyan, Mr. President, is right after, 1987, thank you for the correction, 1987 po yung pinasa IPRA law. After that po, Mr. President, after the IPRA law was signed, pumasok po yung ibang mga IPs, nagkagulo-gulo, naging no man's land yan. As a matter of fact, when my father was governor in year 2000s, the early 2000s, talagang through Secretary Pangandaman and then President Gloria Macapagal-Arroyo, they really had to martial law the area. Kasi pag may pumapasok na sasakyan, binabanata ng M79, yung 40mm grenade. Pati yung PNP, Army, talaga it was no man's land. That area that I'm talking about, yung dating area ni Sir Danding Cuangco, Ambassador Danding Cuangco. So, it was only then that it was established that this area was to be continued through the Agrarian Reform Program. Kasi na-release na po yung titles niyan. Meron na pong CLOA yan. So in other words, there was prior rights to the 1997 IPRA law. Yan ang tinatawag dun sa law, that prior rights. Kung may title na po yung lupa, hindi na po makiklaim ng mga katutubo. Pero in spite of that, nagkakaroon pa rin ng problema. That's why I think the National Land Use Act would solve this problem finally because we need a body, Mr. President, nag-aaway-aaway yung ating mga katutubo at ating mga magsasaka. Ayaw din naman natin mawala po, ayaw din po ito madislodge. Ayaw po natin madislodge ang ating mga magsasaka. Kasi yan po ay napapakain sa ating bansa. So maybe under the National Land Use Act or Code or we have to pass some sort of law which rationalizes this all, Mr. President. Because right now it is a tinderbox waiting to explode unless we resolve that problem with IPRA or what you call CADT or CADC, yung ancestral domain claims, and of course the rights of the farmers to be able to till these areas under the Agrarian Reform Law. So, yung pong balancing act dyan, napakahirap ang balancing act na yan, Mr. President.
But you believe that the Land Use Act might be able to solve?
Yes, Mr.
Partly,
President,
or
because
not
the Land
as
Use
a whole.
Act will be able to
Yes.
identify what is for agriculture, and it should remain for agriculture, what is the ancestral domain areas, and what is forestal, which should remain as forested. What could be converted into housing and subdivisions and for future use of people in terms of their homes and houses. So that would rationalize everything, Mr. President. Kasi right now, parang chop suey. Parang halo-halo. Iba-iba yung, every province has its own distinct problem with land. Unless the national government comes out with a rationalized plan for this, magkakaproblema po with conversions, with abuse on CADC, also applications, abuse also of agrarian reform applications. Yun ang mga pwede mangyari. So we need the national rationalization plan of our use of land in the Philippines.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
The Land Use Act. The Senate passed it in the 15th Congress,
O nga po, pero
but it was not passed by the House. Perhaps a bill is filed now?
yes, sir, we
The
filed.
20th Congress?
We all filed, I think many of us filed together with the Tulfo brothers, Mr. President, Senator Erwin
Good.
and Rafi. They filed, and I think hopefully we'll be able to take this up as a priority. Thank you, Mr. President.
Yes,
Konting
let's work
manifestation
on
na
that
po.
because that is part of the legislative LEDAC priority
Priority.
of the President.
Opo, Mr.
The Land
President.
Use Act.
Kasama natin sa LEDAC po yan.
Senator Erwin Tulfo is seeking the floor, Majority Leader.
Yes, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. Majority Leader. Thank you, Mr. President. I would just like to manifest, Mr. President, on what the good gentleman from Barm and the gentleman from Bukidnon is saying, and the beautiful lady from the Visayas. The problem, Mr. President, is that our indigenous people are treated in this country as second-class citizens. No matter what they do, Mr. President, talagang mababa po ang tingin sa kanila. Example po lang, last month, namuto lang po ng mga bakaan ng yantok para itinda sa Maynila, kinulong pa, Mr. President. Just because sumobra lang po yung timbang sa barko, kulong po kaagad yung mga katutubo. And then, nandyan din po, Mr. President, yung kakikwento lang po ni Senator Padilla, doon po sa Bugsok, Palawan, alam ko po yon. Tip of Palawan po yung island na yon. Pinalayas, kinulong. And there's also instances, Mr. President, during the past few years na nagiging collateral damage po ang mga katutubo. Sila po yung caught in crossfire between firefights between government forces, the rebels or the terrorists. Sila rin po minsan ang tinuturo ng mga terorista. Sila din po lagi ang tinuturo na kumakampi sa mga rebelde. So they're treated like that, Mr. President. They're not represented properly. I think it's high time, Mr. President, na we really have to focus and mabigyan po sila ng karapatan and be treated like ordinary Filipinos, not as second-class citizens of this country. Kasi kung titignan, Mr. President, nauna po sila bago tayo dumating. Nauna po ito mga katutubo, whether Muslim sila, whether Tagbanwa, whether Aita, nauna po sila dito. So I guess, I believe it's high time for this institution to start making sure that our indigenous people are protected and their rights are protected for generations to come, Mr. President. That's all, Mr. President. Thank you, Mr. Majority Floor Leader.
Maraming salamat. Mr. President, may
Thank you.
we
Yes, Majority Leader.
recognize our distinguished colleague, Deputy Majority Floor Leader, Senator Risa Ontiveros for her manifestation.
Yes, Senator Risa Ontiveros, the Deputy Majority Leader is recognized.
Salamat, Mr. President. Huling dalawang maikling punto na lang kaugnay ng manifestasyon ni Senator Padilla na dinagdagan ng malalawak din na perspektiba ni Senator Erwin Tulfo. Ito kasing partikular na laban ng mga mulbog na miyembro ng Sambilog na samahan doon sa Bugsok Island. nahingian na rin po natin ng tulong, particular sa DAR, nung budget debates nung nakaraang taon. So baka immediately po, Mr. President, para ipagpatuloy yung problem solving sa conflict na yan, pwedeng mabalikan lang yung DAR, kung pwede po ba silang mamuno na i-de-escalate yung tensions doon at maging bahagi ng paghanap ng isang mapayapang solusyon in the immediate. At huli, pangalawa at huli, Mr. President, sa longer term, yung minumungkahi na rin po ng mga kasama na ang Senate ay maging kasama dun sa paghanap ng pagbabalanse ng mga batas, yung Indigenous Peoples' Rights Act, bagamat nahuli kumpara sa ibang mga batas ng Republika, pero kumikilala dun sa prinsipyong sinasabi ng mga molbog at iba pang katutubo na since time immemorial sila dito. So paghanap po ng pagbabalanse ng batas na iyon at iba pang mga batas na sumunod para may kahit kapirasong hustisya para sa mga molbog dun sa Palawan. Salamat po, Mr. President.
All right, Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I believe these were manifestations just made, but maybe we can direct all these manifestations and, of course, the privileged speech of Senator Robin Hood Padilla to his committee on the Committee on Cultural Communities and Muslim Affairs, Mr. President. So move.
What about secondarily to the Committee on Agrarian Reform?
Yes, Mr. President, that would be a great idea so that both can sit down and discuss this
All right.
in committee level. Yes, Mr. President. It's
So
agriculture na
referred-
po, Mr. President. It's now
So-
Senator Kiko's committee. We blended both in the last Congress.
I'm sorry.
Agriculture
Okay,
and
yes.
agrarian reform.
Manifested. Go ahead.
Thank
So
you.
referred.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, we'd like to recognize the guest of Senator Bam Aquino, Mayor Junjun Gilka of Dumanhog, Cebu. Gungun Gilka of Dumanhog, Cebu. Maayong
Mayor
hapon.
Gungun of Cebu. Okay, maayong buntag.
Hapon na, sir. Hapon na.
Ha?
Maayong hapon na, sir.
Ay, may hapon, no?
Maayong hapon na, sir. Pero sa mga kooperatiba, Mr. President, we greet each other always a good morning. Maayong buntag, it's always a good morning. Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of Senate Bill number 1506 under Committee Report number 10. This is the act mandating full disclosure of government transactions to the establishment of digital budget portal as requested by the sponsor, Mr. President. I so move.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, the motion is approved. Consideration of the measure is in order.
This is it's in the period of amendments, Mr. President. We'd like to recognize the sponsor, Senator Bam Aquino, and to make amendments, propose amendments, Senator Rodante Marcoleta, Mr. President. May we recognize them both.
We are in the period of amendments. Senator Bam Aquino is recognized. And to propose the amendments, Senator Dante Marcoleta.
Yes, Mr. President.
Maraming salamat po, Mr. President.
Are you the only one who will be proposing amendments?
I will also be proposing individual amendments, Mr. President.
And who else?
And Senator Cayetano will also
Senator
be...
Pia? Majority Leader, I was hoping that we could do it the
Yes, Mr. President.
old way, page by page.
Yes, Mr. President.
But
We can
all
request,
but all the if all the
sponsors.
senators who want to amend are here.
Senator, Mr. President,
Yes,
Senator
Aquino.
Pia Cayetano indicated that she wanted to amend as well, Mr. President.
Sorry, again?
Senator Pia Cayetano also indicated that she wanted to amend as well, Mr. President.
So, would you like to accept amendments by senators, or you would like to do the page by page?
I propose by Senator, Mr. President, because Senator Marcoleta and I are ready already. And then we can have Senator Cayetano. Oh, she's here, Mr. President.
Oh, there you go.
The advantage is that if we do it page by page,
Okay.
then we will not have to go back and make a clean copy for every senator we're doing amendments.
Okay.
And that is the advantage. Unlike if we do it by senators, after Senator Marcoleta and then Senator Cayetano will stand, we might need a clean copy after his amendments.
Mr. President, we can do it page by page, Mr. President.
We can do it page by page.
Yes,
Huh?
Mr. President. Yes,
Senator
Mr. President.
Cayetano, yeah.
Yes.
Then we will be facilitating it if she has only 3 amendments and you have amendments of your own.
Yes, Mr.
All right,
President.
so let's start with page 1. Any amendments on page 1? No amendments on page 1?
None, Mr. President.
All right, page 2. Any amendments on page 2?
Sir, sa page 1, si Senator Pia.
I'm sorry, Mr. President. I was looking at the explanatory note. Page 1, if I'm not mistaken, Senator Pia has an amendment, Mr. President.
Senator Pia Cayetano is recognized for page 1.
Thank you, Mr. President. Less than a minute suspension, I just need my glasses.
It's okay, we can wait.
Thank you, Mr. President. I'll proceed to just read it.
Yes, Mr. President.
Okay, thank you. On page 1, line 11, after the word institutions, insert a new paragraph which reads as follows. In pursuit of a forward-looking, resilient, and future-ready governance framework, the state shall apply futures thinking and anticipatory governance in the design, implementation, and continuous enhancement of digital budget disclosure systems. This approach ensures adaptability to emerging technologies, long-term risk, evolving public needs, and potential societal impacts. We submit, Mr. President.
Accepted, Mr. President.
Accepted, sponsor says accepted. No, any objection? Hearing none, adopted. Any more on page 1?
Actually, Mr. President, I apologize. I have an earlier amendment, but also on page 1.
Anterior amendment.
Dear amendment, Mr. President.
All right.
Page 1, line 4, after the word shall, replace the word safeguard to maintain. We submit, Mr. President.
Maintain.
So it will
What?
read, the state shall maintain.
What does the sponsor say?
Accepted, Mr. President.
Any objection?
Thank you.
Hearing none, adopted. Still on page 1?
Actually, that's my only amendment on this measure, Mr. President. My other
okay.
amendments are on this other measure. Thank
All
you.
right. Any amendments on page 2? No amendments on page 2. Page 3? Any amendments on page 3? Any amendments on page 4? Amendments on page 5?
Page 5, Mr. President.
All right.
On
Proceed.
page 5, line 10,
Line 10.
spell out OSBP as online submission of budget proposals. So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
On page 5, line 20, Mr. President, after the word amendments, insert the phrase with identified proponents. So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
On page 5, line 21, after the word bicameral, insert the words conference committee. So moved, Mr.
Bicameral
President.
Conference Committee report.
Yes, Mr. President.
All right. Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
That's all for page 5, Mr. President.
Any amendments on page 6?
Mr. President, numerous, if I may start.
Go ahead.
On page 6, line 1, spell out CDC as cash disbursement ceilings. So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
On page 6, line 2, spell out MYCA as multi-year contractual authority. So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
On page 6, line 2, delete the word others and replace with the
Page
phrase...
6,
Page 6, line 2, Mr.
line
President.
2. Okay.
Delete the word others and replace with the phrase other similar issuances. So
Other
moved, Mr.
similar.
President. Yes, so moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
On page 6, delete lines 9 and 10, Mr. President.
Delete 9 and 10.
So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
On page 6, section 5D, lines 12 to 28, replace the term procuring agencies with
Five.
procuring entities.
5,
Lines 12 to 28, Mr.
12
President.
to 28.
Yes, instead of procuring agency, it should be procuring entities.
All right.
So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
On page 6, line 18, delete the phrase records of competing bids and replace with abstract of bids. So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
On page 6, line 19 and 20, delete the phrase eligibility and ownership disclosures / certifications of good standing and replace with project eligibility documents, comma, including beneficial ownership disclosures, comma, certifications of good standing, comma, permits and clearances. So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
On page 6, line 23, delete the slash and replace it with end.
Performance and warranty security.
Yes, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
On page 6, line 23, delete security, the word security, and add the word documents.
After the word security.
Any objection?
I'm sorry, Mr. President. After the word, may I repeat that, Mr. President? On page 6, line 23, after the word security, add the word documents. So moved, Mr. President.
Retain security.
Yes, Mr. President.
Security documents. All
Yes,
right.
Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
On page 6, line 28, after the word disbursement vouchers, delete the phrase progress billings, Mr. President. So moved.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
That's all for page 6, Mr. President.
Will you move for a renumbering?
Yes, Mr. President, but we still have some on page 7, Mr. President.
Yes, but you will have to renumber page 6.
Okay, I move, Mr. President, to renumber page 6.
All right. Any objection? Hearing none, renumbered.
On page 7, line 2, Mr. President, spell out the acronym BFARS as budget and financial accountability forms. So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
On page 7, line 5, spell out the acronym COA as Commission on Audit. So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Mr. President, on page 7, line 12, insert a new subsection 7, or VII in Roman numeral, to read as follows. VII, or 7, all Civil Service Commission, parenthesis CSC, dash DBM, dash COA circulars. And then in the next box, Mr. President, under responsible agency, CSC/DBM/COA.
Any objection?
So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
I move to renumber the subsequent subsection, Mr. President. So moved.
All right. Sorry numbered.
On page 7, line 15, delete the
15?
title,
Ah,
subsection F, other documents.
delete.
The title, just the title, Mr. President. The paragraph shall remain.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
That's all for page 7, Mr. President.
Page 8. Any amendments on page 8?
None, Mr. President.
Page 9.
None, Mr. President.
Page 10. Senator Marcoleta is recognized. On
yes,
page 10 or page 9?
Page 10, Mr. President.
Page 9. Page 10. Go ahead, Senator Marcoleta, you're recognized.
On page 10, Mr. President, lines 15 and 16.
Mr. President, my amendment on page 10 is line 5, if I may go ahead.
Anterior amendment? Oh, go ahead.
Yes,
For the anterior amendment. Just
yes.
a while, Senator Marcoleta. Line 5, go ahead.
On page 10, line 5, add a new sentence to read as follows. The cadena shall display all budget records without alteration and shall ensure that all documents, comma, dashboards, comma, public datasets, comma, and APIs reflect the complete national budget cycle, period. So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
That's all for page 10 for me, Mr. President.
Senator Marcoleta is recognized. The page.
Also on page 10, Mr. President, lines 15 and 16, delete the phrase, the eGov PH portal, the eGov super app, and then insert the word fully secured before the word national to read as follows. Letter G, interoperability and open standards. The cadena shall adopt open source, technology-neutral frameworks and ensure compatibility with existing and future government information systems. It shall be designed for integration with other fully secured national digital platforms to allow seamless data exchange interoperability, and unified public access. The Cadena shall likewise be accessible to the general public through its own portal and/or other government portals to promote ease of use, transparency, and citizen engagement. The rationale, Mr. President, is the poor track record of the DICT eGov Super App on cybersecurity may readily compromise government data. Thus, it is recommended to remove the mandatory integration into the eGov Super App to ensure that only fully secured digital platforms shall be prioritized. I so move, Mr. President.
Accepted, Mr. President.
Accepted. Any objection? Hearing none, adopted. Any more amendments on page 10? Senator, the majority leader is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I wasn't following the amendments. We'd like to ask the author, during our discussion in the LEDAC, Senator Bam, during the discussion in the LEDAC, we just want to make sure that sensitive information on intelligence, military hardware, and the like would not be presented out in public for our friends from
Other countries.
countries.
There's a provision, Mr. President, on exemptions for national security.
Fantastic. Thank you,
All
Mr.
right.
President. I just wanted
All right.
to know that in light of what's going on also in Thailand and Cambodia, can you imagine
Yeah.
our neighbors in Thailand and Cambodia are at it again. So we just want to make sure that we have some security in place, Mr. President,
Okay.
first, especially national security issues. Thank you.
Any more amendments on page 10? We move to page 11. Any move?
Page 11, Mr. President.
Yes, Senator Aquino, you may proceed.
On page 11, line 6, after the word information, insert the word and communications. So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted. Any more on page 11? No more?
None, Mr. President.
We move to page 12. Amendments on page 12.
None, Mr. President.
Page 13. Amendments on page 13.
None, Mr. President.
Page 14.
None.
Page 15.
None.
Page 16. Senator Marcoleta is recognized.
On page 16, Mr. President, line 4, section 15 on evidentiary value of Cadena records. Delete the phrase without further proof of authenticity between the words proceedings and provided.
Accepted.
Delete it.
And further delete the second paragraph from lines 9 to 11. The provision will now read as follows. Section 15. Evidentiary value of Cadena records. All records, data, and transactions stored in Cadena shall be considered prima facie evidence of the facts stated therein and shall be admissible in all judicial, quasi-judicial, and administrative proceedings, provided that the record A bears a digital timestamp, B is cryptographically signed or verified through the digital portal, and C has not been altered without authorization as verified by Cadena's integrity controls. The rationale, Mr. President, the deleted portions are believed to undermine the current judicial processes behind evidence gathering and preservation. Without further proof or authenticity, the evidence can be subject to abuse through digital evidence fabrication that can be made through AI by either outsiders or insiders. I so move, Mr. President.
Accepted,
What the
Mr.
sponsor
President.
say? Yeah, accepted.
Yes.
Accepted. Any objection? Hearing none, adopted. What about line 9 to line 11? Are you seeking a deletion?
At sir, si Senator Marcoleta din, sir. Yes, nilog niya kanina, sir.
Yes.
Can you review?
Yes, sir.
Huh? You're deleting this.
Yes, sir. Lines 9 to 11.
I would like to entertain a motion.
Yes, I,
I
said
cannot,
the
I
second
cannot
paragraph
delete it motu proprio.
from 9 to 11, Mr. President.
Delete.
To be deleted, Mr. President.
All right, what does sponsor say?
Accepted, Mr. President.
All right, any objection? Hearing none, adopted. Any more amendment, page 16?
None, Mr. President.
Page 17? Amendments, page 17? 18?
Mr. President,
18?
Mine is on line 16, Mr. President. On page 18, line 16, after the
Okay,
word
line
"and,"
16.
insert the words "Committee on Information and Communications Technology of."
After the word "and," there are two ends on line 16.
The last one, Mr.
The
President.
last end.
Yes.
All right.
So it shall read, the Committee on Science and Technology of the Senate and Committee on Information and Communications Technology of the House. So moved, Mr.
Okay.
President.
All right. Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Senator Marcoleta.
Page 18. Senator Marcoleta is recognized.
On page 18, from lines 24 to 26, section 22, Mr. President, delete the first sentence starting from Article D in line 24 and ending with programs in line 26 and replace with a new sentence to read as follows. Section 22, appropriations. To guarantee the implementation of the provisions of this Act, a line item for digital governance and transparency programs shall be included in the general appropriations of the DICT. Subsequent funding requirements shall be included in the annual General Appropriations Act. The rationale, this is to ensure that the system is well-funded, secure, robust, and scalable. Cadena being a data infrastructure from transparency and accountability may be left to be underfunded.
Before I ask the sponsor if you accept, will you retain the ICT or you would like to spell out Department of Information and Communications Technology?
We can
We
spell
can
out,
spell out, Mr. President.
Spell out. All right. What does the sponsor say?
accepted, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
And lastly, Mr. President, this representation would like to be a co-author of this proposed measure. Thank you.
Gladly, Mr. President.
All right. Senator Dante Marcoleta is made a co-author of the said measure. So we proceed with the page. No more on page 18.
No more, Mr. President.
Page 19. No amendments on page 19. Where is the line that the majority leader is asking for?
Mr. President, it's on page 8, section 5,
Page 8.
section 5, line 11 to 12. It reads as such: the disclosure requirement under this Act shall not apply to specific data fields within documents whose publication would compromise national defense or security, or violate Republic Act 10173 or the Data Privacy Act of 2012, and so on, Mr. President.
Okay. Okay.
It is spelled out,
Yes.
Mr. President.
Very good. Any other amendment? No other amendments, Majority Leader. I would like to entertain a motion to close the period of amendments.
Yes, Mr. President, with that, we move to close the period of amendments, Mr.
Any
President.
objection? Hearing none, period of amendments closed.
Second reading? Second reading? Mr. President, good news. Since we closed the period of amendments, Mr. President, we can proceed to second reading approval. With the permission of the body, I move that we approve on second reading Senate Bill number 1506 under Committee Report number 10. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. Senate Bill
Congratulations.
1506 under Committee Report number 10 is approved on second reading. Congratulations, Senator Aquino.
Congratulations to our dear colleague. Just when we placed it under the priority list yesterday, Mr. President,
Yes.
we
And
already
also-
rushed and passed it. We did not rush it, but we passed it.
So to the co-authors, Senator Marcoleta and Senator Cayetano, congratulations as well.
Maybe made a co-author as well, Mr. President, with the permission of Senator Bamakino.
Of course,
measure. Thank
the
you, Mr.
Majority Leader.
Thank you.
All right.
So congratulations once again, and we will have this on third reading on Monday next week, Mr. President.
All right.
Any other bill, your second bill, wala? First bill.
I'd like to entertain a motion to suspend
Yes.
consideration.
Sorry, Mr. President. I move to suspend consideration of the measure.
You know, I was Majority Leader before.
I know, Mr. President.
Mr. President,
Any objection?
yeah, just to request that I be made the co-author. I'm not sure, I'm checking, so my staff said might as well be sure
Well,
and just manifest again.
I just made you one.
Thank you. Okay, good. Thank you, Mr.
All right.
President.
And Senator Pangilinan, likewise. All right. So-
We have two members in the plenary who would like to propose amendments on the first bill on the agenda.
Wait.
yes, Mr. President.
I did not approve yet. So the motion is to suspend consideration.
Yes, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion is approved.
Thank you, Mr. President.
Majority Leader, you may proceed.
Yes, Mr. President, I move that we resume consideration of Senate Bill number 1482 under Committee Report number 6.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration of Senate Bill 1482 under Committee Report number 6 is in order.
Thank you, Mr. President. May we recognize, this, by the way, Mr. President, is the bill on the classroom building acceleration program. May we recognize, Mr. President, once again, the sponsor, and to propose amendments will be the two ladies.
What is
Mr. President.
the parliamentary status of the measure?
We're in the period of amendments, Mr. President.
Period of amendments. Yes, Senator
Mr.
Aquino is
President,
recognized.
Senator Padilla is ready, but he's currently praying. So is it okay?
Ladies muna.
Unless we go page by page again, Mr. President.
Well, if the other members who wish to propose amendments are not here, then I doubt if we can go page to page, unless, so let us just go senator by senator.
Okay, Mr. President.
Because you said
concur.
Senator Padilla once.
Yes,
to
Mr.
amend.
President. He's ready, but he's just currently praying, Mr. President.
Which will be perfect, Mr. President, because
Ayan na.
when the amendments of
He's here,
Senator
Mr. President.
Cayetano, Senator Legarda, Senator Padilla will be done, we could probably provide a clean copy when the minority leader proposes his amendments.
Ah,
have a clean copy.
there are amendments of the minority leader also?
Yes, sir. Yes, he's proposing
Well,
amendments.
we cannot go by page by page.
Yes, sir, Mr. President.
Oo. With better ask the sponsor who he wants to entertain first.
I believe Senator
Well,
Legarda, Mr. President,
But
will be
actually,
going for...
Mr. President, Majority Floor Leader, I've spoken to Senator Lagarda. We will make the life of the sponsor easier. So at least between the two of us, my amendments come first. So I will.
Okay.
She has deferred to me just because my amendments come earlier.
So may we recognize a distinguished colleague from Taguig.
What about the committee amendments? Do you have a committee amendments on this?
Mr. President, this is considered individual amendments, Mr. President.
Why? It's a substitute
Because we had a
bill.
substitute bill, Mr.
All right. Thank you. Senator Pia Cayetano is recognized.
Thank you, Mr. President. This will be brief. I think I only have 3 amendments. On Section 2, on the Declaration of Policy, on page 1, line 5, after the word learners, insert comma, consistent with the commitment to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promoting lifelong learning opportunities for all. We submit, Mr. President.
Accepted, Mr. President.
Accepted. Hearing no objection. Adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. On page 1, line 9, after the word nationwide, insert a new sentence. Such measures shall promote sustainability and disaster-resilient infrastructure to safeguard the safety, security, and well-being of learners. We submit.
Yes.
Accepted,
sponsor.
Mr. President.
Accepted. Adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. On Section 8, Program Management, on page 4, line after line 17, insert a new paragraph. In furtherance of this policy, the PMO shall integrate futures thinking and anticipatory planning in the implementation of the classroom building acceleration program. For this purpose, it shall generate and periodically update forward-looking enrollment projections, demographic and population trend analysis to identify present and future classroom requirements. It shall maintain a national inventory of classroom shortages to guide evidence-based planning, prioritization, and sequencing of classroom construction nationwide. We submit, Mr. President.
Accepted, Mr. President.
Accepted. No objection. Adopted.
Thank you, Mr. President. That is all. Thank you.
Thank you.
To our sponsor.
Senator Lauren Legarda is recognized for her amendments.
Thank you, Mr. President. With a good sponsor,
course.
so kindly accept. I'll read it into the record. Under Section 9, page 4, after line 32, insert the following paragraph. All classroom designs under this Act shall, where practicable, adopt nature-based solutions, climate-adaptive features, and the use of indigenous or locally available materials to enhance resilience and promote sustainable construction. The DepEd shall annually report the extent and percentage of adoption of such design solutions in all CAP-supported buildings as part of its mandated transparency reports. Full compliance with Republic Act 9003 or the Ecological Solid Waste Management Act shall likewise be required, including waste segregation at source, the use of environmentally acceptable materials, and the utilization of a material recovery facility established under Section 32 of said Act for the proper sorting, segregation, composting, and recycling of school-generated waste. The IRR shall set out the specific procedures for coordinating with existing materials recovery facilities within the locality, and where none are available, the guidelines for establishing or designating an appropriate facility within the school or school grounds to ensure full and effective implementation of ecological solid waste management. It's a bit long, but this is a...
Did you have a copy of that, Senator Aquino?
Yes, Mr. President.
It was
And what-
actually
what
it was actually pre-approved by the good sponsor. I just wanted to put it on record, Mr.
Yes,
President.
of course. What did the sponsor say?
Of course, we accept, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
I'm grateful to the sponsor, and I congratulate him for this measure.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
Any other amendments? Senator Robin Padilla is recognized.
Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo. Para po sa ating bayani ng edukasyon, ito po yung aking mga amendment. On Section 6,
Section
eligibility of proponents.
6. Anong page po yan?
Page 3, line 25.
Okay.
After the number 1991 and a period, insert a new paragraph to read as follows. Classrooms built under this act shall be considered as zones of peace. The DepEd shall ensure that these classrooms remain as a peaceful and conducive environment to effective learning and teaching. So move, Mr. President.
Accepted.
sponsor say?
Accepted, Mr. President.
Accepted. Any objection? Senator Cayetano is recognized.
And of course, I support such a worthy amendment. I do have a legislative query. This amendment would technically apply to the classrooms built under the acceleration program. So paano yung ibang classrooms na hindi kasama dito? And you cannot apply it to them because this is a very specific bill. So I don't know how to
Phrase.
resolve that because it's a great amendment, but I'm not sure if this is the proper place. And I do know that there is a policy, if I'm not mistaken, a United Nations policy that makes school zones of peace, no? So yun lang. Maybe we can ask
Well,
the experts.
the way it sounds, it's forward-looking.
Yun nga po. So what happens? So parang na-exclude mo yung mga existing schools. So doon sila pupunta, doon sila gegera. Kasi the idea behind this concept is that you cannot conduct acts of violence there. Like, you know, children are safe there. And perhaps the proponent can expound if he'd like. And we want that to be the case for all schools, not just for the schools that will be covered in this bill, Mr. President.
Yeah, Mr. President, may I make a
Yes, Senator Aquino.
suggestion? Maybe, Mr. President, instead of classrooms built under this act, we can say all classrooms shall be considered as zones of peace.
But then let's also ask the expert, because that may no longer be germane to the subject matter, because this is forward-thinking, this is forward-looking on the constructions of new classrooms. I don't know if you can insert a provision that applies. So I don't know. Even though I'm a lawyer, I would like to get the expert opinion on this. Kasi we love the proposal, but we want to do it properly, Mr. President. Thank you.
Ginoong Pangulo, opo, maaari po bang makapaglahad
Okay,
lang?
sige po, Senator Padilla.
Ito pong amendment na ito ay nabuo sapagkat marami pong pagkukulang na classroom sa BARM. Yun po ang tinakbo ng ating pag-uusap At yun po ang pinanggalingan ng mungkahi na ito na napatunayan naman po bilang tayo po ay nakipag-coordinate at sumama po sa hearing nitong nung isinagawa po ang hearing ng patungkol po dito sa Classroom Building Acceleration Program, nakita po natin na napakababa po ng eskwelahan namin sa BARM. At kaya po namin naisip ito sapagkat kung ano po yung gagawin ng mga paaralan doon, ay iuna na po natin na ipagbawal na muna ang mga... Madalas po kasi ginagamit ang eskwelahan doon kung saan po nilalagay ang mga military. Cannons po 105, howitzer. Kaya po natin ito inilagak dito. Ngayon, kung nais po natin baguhin yung buong sitwasyon nito, gumawa po tayo ng panibagong batas na sakop lahat. Pero sa ngayon po siguro, dahil nandito na po tayo, wala pong dahilan para hindi natin ilagay ito.
Mr. President, to clarify, I think Senator Cayetano is supporting the amendment and wants to expand the coverage na lahat ng classroom will be zone of peace. Hindi lang yung mabubuo from the cap, no, from this bill. So, hindi naman po nagkakataliwas. The question
Yes,
is
that
really...
is the that is the way I understand the
Yes.
point of Senator Cayetano. She is wondering what we can do with the other classrooms that have already been built and that the proposal is forward-looking. Sinasabi nga, pero what do we do with the rest? So, Senator Risa Ontiveros is recognized.
Salamat, Mr. President. In support of the line of discussion between the good sponsor and the gentleman and the lady, ulitin ko lang po yung nabanggit ko sa good sponsor at sa gentleman from BARM and Camarines Norte, yung binanggit ko nung period of interpellation, na in fact, adopted na previously ng Department of Education yung Schools as Zones of Peace na global initiative at framework. So kung useful po yon sa sponsor and to the colleagues, pwede naman pong i-work into yon sa language ng bill. Salamat, Mr. President, at sa lahat po ng colleagues.
Mr. President, may I ask for a 1-minute suspension?
Yes, as a matter of fact, while we suspend, will you check whether that should be on Section 6 or it should be on Section 9? Baka parang mas bagay sa Section 9, hindi sa Section 6. Anyway, di ba? Even the Secretariat agrees with me. Anyway, session suspended. Establishing and maintaining.
Ready to resume, Mr. President.
Session is resumed.
Mr. President, I think we have found a more appropriate place for the amendment of Senator Padilla. On Section 2, after the amendment of Senator Cayetano, which ends with opportunities for all, we can include, Mr. President, classrooms built under this act shall be considered as zones of peace. The DepEd shall ensure that these classrooms remain as a peaceful and conducive environment to effective learning and teaching, Mr. President. Will that satisfy Senator Cayetano?
Well,
Mr. President, just one
can,
more.
can we just, no, can we, before you, can we just make sure that we include a line that says, as well as establishing and maintaining all schools as zones of peace? Doon sa declaration policy, covered na lahat, pati yung iba. Di ba ba? Can you insert that
Yes,
line?
Mr. President.
Establishing and maintaining all schools. Damay na lahat.
Okay, Mr. President. So, Mr. President, we can read it as such. So, the amendment of Senator Cayetano ends with
Such
consistent with the
measures-
commitment to ensure inclusive and equitable quality education and promoting lifelong learning opportunities for all. Classrooms previously built and those built under this act shall be considered as zones of peace.
Pwedeng wala na yung
Classrooms lang.
under this act.
Classrooms shall be
Basta
considered as
diretso mo na,
zones of
classrooms.
peace.
Oh.
Okay. Sige, Mr. President, ganito na lang po. Classrooms shall be considered as zones of peace. The DepEd shall ensure that these classrooms remain as a peaceful and conducive environment to effective learning and teaching.
Yun. Okay.
So move,
And
Mr. President.
the place you're placing it is on after line 9.
Yes, Mr.
All
President.
right. All right.
But that's where, if I
Senator
may,
Cayetano.
yeah, that's where I think the best thing to do would be to refer to the DepEd issuance, which makes reference to two, if I'm not mistaken, at least two existing laws. Because as to who will implement that, there are already laws that state that. So let's just reference it. So we're not creating a new obligation on the part of DepEd that has already been settled. There are laws.
Yes.
So subject to style, that DepEd, pursuant to DepEd's issuances and existing laws, something like that, subject to style, Mr. President.
Pursuant to the existing
Existing
laws.
laws. Existing laws,
Pursuant
yeah.
to the
Because
existing
yung
laws.
DepEd
And treaties.
ordinances
Sige.
naman, pursuant
Sige,
din naman
subject
sa
to style.
existing laws.
What
Yes.
does the original proponent of the amendment say? Okay sa'yo,
Okay
Senator
po.
Padilla?
Basta
what
po
does the sponsor
nakakaganda.
say?
Maraming salamat po. Opo.
We accept, Mr. President.
Accepted, as manifested by the Senator Cayetano, subject to style. Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Okay. Para po sa pangalawa,
Go ahead.
on page 3, line 26, insert a new section 7 to read as follows. Section 7, income tax deductions for private entities. The provisions of Republic Act number 8525, otherwise known as an act establishing and adopts a school program, providing incentives, therefore, and for other purposes relative to the additional deduction for expenses incurred by private entities shall be adopted as far as practicable.
What does the sponsor say?
Accepted, Mr. President.
Accepted. Any object? Senator Cayetano is recognized.
It's not an objection, Mr. President, but we already have a law that grants exceptions. So may I suggest, subject to style, pursuant to RA 8525, which is precisely on adopt a school incentives, Mr. President.
That was mentioned, Mr. President, in
It
the...
was mentioned now?
Apo.
Yes.
Hindi ko po narinig. Okay, thank you.
Apo.
So the specific law.
Yes.
Opo.
Okay, thank you, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Sa pangatlo po. On page 4, line 2, after the word DepEd and a period, insert a new paragraph to read as follows. In granting approval, the DepEd shall give consideration and priority to project proposals that include a commitment to hiring indigenous peoples for the construction of classrooms within ancestral domains.
What
Accepted.
does the sponsor say?
Accepted, Mr. President.
Accepted. Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Maraming salamat po, Ginoong Pangulo.
Any other amendment?
Mr. President, let me read my individual amendments.
Oh, good. Good.
On page 2, delete lines 2 to 5. So moved, Mr. President.
2 to 5. Any objection? Hearing none. Deleted.
Mr. President, on page 5, line 2, after the word subject to, delete the phrase, the following cost ceilings, and replace it with a cost ceiling of 28,000 pesos, and then 28,000 pesos in number, in parentheses, per square meter for the construction of classrooms in 1 to 4-story school buildings. So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
On page 5, delete line 4 to 22, Mr. President. So moved.
4 to 22.
Yes, because, Mr. President, we have rationalized the cost with DepEd, and it is now at 28,000 per square meter, Mr. President.
Okay.
Roughly the same as this, Mr. President, but easier to
Yes.
understand.
It's easier. All right. Any objection? Hearing none, deleted.
On page 5, line 23, change the word ceilings to ceiling. So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Mr. President, in response to Senator Marcos's concern about the allowable variances to the cost ceilings, on page 6, line 4, insert a new subsection D to be read as follows. Letter D, the DepEd shall develop costing guidelines which shall include the methodology and parameters for determining allowable variances to classroom construction costs across regions, period. Such guidelines shall consider regional construction material and labor price indices, inflation, transport and logistics factors, geohazard conditions, and other relevant criteria, period. All adjustments to classroom cost ceilings shall strictly adhere to these guidelines and shall be publicly disclosed and subject to audit by the Commission audit, in parentheses, COA, period. And then renumber the succeeding subsections accordingly. So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
On page 6, line 22, after the phrase, their corresponding cost ceilings, insert the phrase, the costing guidelines. So moved, Mr. President.
Costing guidelines and relevant, etc., etc.
Yes,
Any
Mr.
objection? Hearing none, adopted.
In response to Senator Marcos's concern about possible contravention to RA 12009 or the new Government Procurement Act, on page 7, after line 7, insert a new paragraph to be read as follows. Nothing in this act shall be construed as an exemption from Republic Act 12009, or the new Government Procurement Act, period. All procurement undertaken by DepEd, LGUs, or CSOs under the cap shall remain subject to the new Government Procurement Act, applicable GPPB issuances, and COA regulations, period. So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
In line with the suggestion of Senator Marcos, Mr. President, to ensure that LGUs with lower administrative or technical capacity are not excluded from CAP, to insert a new section after Section 12 to be read as follows. The proper section, Mr. President, capacity building support for LGUs, the DepEd shall provide technical assistance to LGUs with lower administrative or technical capacity to enable their participation in the program, and to prevent inequitable access to CAP resources, period. The assistance may include project development support, preparation of plans, and procurement and contract management guidance, period. Next paragraph. Such support shall not exempt LGU proponents from meeting the eligibility requirements for participation in the program, as provided under Section 6 of this Act. So moved, Mr. President.
That comes before Section 13, right?
Yes, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Mr. President, insert another new section before Section 13. Section 13 is on Joint Congressional Oversight Committee. So before that, Mr. President, the proper section number, leasing and acquisition of facilities, dash. The Department of Education is authorized to lease facilities from any public or private entity, comma, and to purchase land and/or buildings for use as classrooms, comma, provided that such facilities are suitable for educational purposes, comma, and are compliant with the DepEd's minimum performance standards and specifications, period. The DepEd shall pay rental fees or purchase costs in accordance with applicable budgeting, comma, procurement, comma, accounting, comma, and auditing rules and regulations, period. Cost ceilings, comma, as determined in Section 10 of this Act, shall be considered in the leasing and acquisition of classroom facilities, period. So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted. You will renumber?
Yes, Mr. President, move to renumber all the succeeding sections accordingly.
All right, so renumbered.
Mr. President, next, in line with Senator Marcoleta's suggestion on the immediate implementation of the Act, on page 7, line 27, delete the word 90 and replace with 60. So moved, Mr. President.
60. Any objection? Hearing none, adopted.
Also in line with Senator Marcoleta's suggestion on the immediate implementation of this Act, Mr. President, on page 7, line 32, after the word regulations, delete the phrase to implement the provisions and replace with the phrase for the immediate implementation. So moved, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, adopted. Your amendment on line 27, you meant words and numbers, ano? Words and numbers?
Yes, Mr. President.
From 90 to 60?
Yes, Mr. President.
All right.
That's
Just
all,
making
Mr.
sure.
President.
No other amendment? But I think Majority Leader, we cannot close because there are amendments to be proposed by Senator Alan Cayetano, the
Yes,
Minority
Mr.
Leader.
President.
All right, so
we can move to have a clean copy distributed to all members, Mr.
yes,
President.
yes.
And
The Secretariat is directed to prepare a clean copy as amended. And then,
Subject to style dun sa renumbering naman, sir.
Mr.
would
President,
you
just
like to suspend? Yes.
to be clear, Mr. President, we move to renumber all the sections and subsections according to style, Mr. President.
Yes, right.
And the cross-referencing of all of the provisions, Mr. President.
Subject to style.
So moved.
Yes, approved. Majority Leader.
Yes, Mr. President, I move to suspend consideration of the measure.
Yes, we suspend consideration of 1482 and direct the Secretariat to produce a clean copy for the proper time.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, may I ask for a minute suspension, Mr. President?
Session suspended for 1 Senate minute.
Yeah. Ready to resume, Mr. President?
Session resumed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before we take up other bills, we'd like to recognize, Mr. President, I move that we recognize our distinguished Deputy Majority Floor Leader, Senator Risa Ontiveros, to avail of the privilege hour, Mr. President.
Senator Risa Ontiveros is recognized.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Okay. Mr. President, dear colleagues, lahat tayo'y nagdiwang at pumalakpak noong maban ang POGOs at nang maipasa na ang anti-POGO law. Alam natin kung paano inabuso ng mga dayuhan ang ating mga institusyon para makapasok sa bansa at magsagawa ng samut-saring krimen at kasamaan. Today, I rise to sound yet another alarm. POGOs and illegal gambling actors continue to cast a long shadow over our country. At malala pa dito, ginagamit ang isang paraan na dapat nakareserba sa mga pinaka-inaalipusta, ang ating asylum process. Let me be very clear. Refugee protection is sacred. It exists to save lives, to shield the persecuted, the hunted, the vulnerable. The Philippines is proud to be a signatory to the 1951 Refugee Convention, and we honor that commitment. We honor that commitment to the Jews during the Holocaust, the Vietnamese boat people, the Sindhi Hindus after the partition. We continue to honor that commitment to the Syrians, the Palestinians, the Rohingya peoples. Pero ngayon, lumalabas na pati ito ay nilalapastangan na rin. Mr. President, hindi dapat ito ginagawang taguan ng mga kriminal. Hindi dapat ito nagiging escape hatch ng mga sindikato. A few days ago, on December 3, a Chinese fugitive, Lin Xiangqian, was arrested via a mission order by our Bureau of Immigration. Siya po ay wanted sa kanyang bansa, sa China, for running illegal online gambling operations. Ayon sa intel reports tungkol sa kanya, he continued running underground POGO-style scam enterprises here kahit na banned na ang POGO sa ating bansa. Ayon pa sa ating informants, siya ang leader ng Baccarat Boys o mga puganteng nag-ooperate ng illegal online gambling sites. Ang kanyang dalawang kasamahan ay nahuli na din ng ating mga otoridad. Pero wala pang 24 oras matapos ang kanyang pag-aresto, itong si Lin ay di umanong nakakuha ng proteksyon mula sa pag-file ng asylum. Ang kanyang abogado di umano ay sumulat sa Refugee and Stateless Persons Protection Unit, RSPPU, noong December 4 para i-express ang intensyon ng kanyang kliyente na mag-apply ng asylum. Apparently, this was enough to prevent his deportation. Ito ang ginawang dahilan kung bakit hindi na proseso ang kanyang deportation. Isang araw lang, Mr. President. Isang araw. Nagpanggap siyang nangangailangan ng pagkupkop ng Pilipinas at kaya tinuring umano na biktima ng political persecution sa China. I have further evidence to prove that this is not an isolated loophole. This is an insidious pattern, a modus, a deliberate exploitation of our asylum system. There are enough examples that should give rise to alarm. These have been corroborated by many sources, and I have a high level of confidence in this information. I have redacted some information as I understand that despite these glaring red flags, there remains a need to uphold the protections assured in this process for the sake of future genuine applicants. A certain Ms. Wang, accused of embezzling 97 million RMB in 2017, tumakas dito noong 2018, and then was arrested here in 2022 on an Interpol red notice. She was soon after released because she obtained refugee status. May dalawa siyang passport, Chinese at Antigua and Barbuda. She applied for refugee status on January 23 and received it in April 2023, or just 3 months after. A certain Mr. Yin, illegal casino operator, blacklisted and arrested in August 2024, released because he obtained refugee status in September 2024. I want to highlight this case. August 2024 ang application ng kanyang asylum. September 2024 ito ginawad. 1 buwan lang. A certain Mr. Tang, Hong Kong citizen, organized illegal gambling in the Philippines, wanted by Chinese authorities and with an Interpol red notice. Again, released because he obtained refugee status in August 2024. A certain Mr. Ren, illegal online gambling operator, also arrested on an Interpol red notice. Mahuhulaan nyo na po siguro, sasabihin ko next. Released January 2025 because he obtained refugee status. And now, Lin Xiangqian, arrested December 2, 2025, and deportation blocked because he immediately filed for refugee status. These cases have 3 common features. Una, they are all fugitives wanted for non-political, non-religious crimes. Pangalawa, they all operate in illegal gambling, pogo-style criminal enterprises, or underground digital casinos, activities that have long victimized Filipino communities. Pangatlo, they all seek asylum the moment they are arrested in the Philippines. Ang sabi pa nga, ang claim nila ay sila ay Falun Gong members. Under the 1951 Convention and DOJ Department Circular Number 024, Series of 2022, a refugee is someone who fears persecution due to race, religion, nationality, membership in a social group, or political opinion, not someone escaping fraud charges, casino operations, or illegal gambling syndicates. Refugee protection does not apply to a person who has committed a serious non-political crime and who presents a real danger of inflicting the same harm on our people. Pag ikaw nga naman ay tinuring na refugee, you enjoy safe harbor in the country that gave you refugee status. Pwede kang maglabas-masok. You are protected from the alleged persecution that gave rise to your claim for asylum. Mataas and universal ang mga pribilehiyo dahil kinikilala natin bilang sanlibutan ang hirap at pasakit na dinaranas ng mga biktima ng political persecution, mga inaapi ng isang marahas na estado. This raises a basic question. How are individuals wanted for non-political crimes able to pass through our asylum process so easily and so consistently? How are Interpol Red Notice fugitives able to avail of the protections reserved for the vulnerable peoples of the world? The pattern suggests either a serious failure in our screening mechanism or deliberate facilitation, whether through neglect, influence, or corruption. Ganito po ang form na kailangang sagutin ng mga aplikante para maging refugee. Papakita po namin yung form. What is happening here? Are we taking applicants' declarations at face value in forms that are not made under oath? Or are they declaring truthfully and we are ignoring the rules? Kapabayaan ba o katiwalian? Why am I more inclined to believe that something fishy is happening? Well, Mr. President, nung ako po'y nagtanong sa DOJ budget hearing, ang sabi sa akin ay 1 year hanggang 2 years ang average time ng pag-process ng refugee application. Pero itong mga ito, halos 2 months lang. Si Mr. Yin, 1 month lang. Ang nakakakaba pa, most of these bad actors are still in the Philippines, free to continue criminal activities while enjoying the mantle of protection of our refugee system. Who dropped the ball here? Ang DOJ RSPPU na nagpoproseso at nagbibigay ng asylum? Ang BI na may mandato ng paghuli ng mga violators ng ating immigration laws at mag-deport? O may iba pa bang ahensya? I thank the Bureau of Immigration and the DOJ, Mr. President, for their readiness to provide information on these general processes to my staff. But I believe they would agree with me that some questions need to be answered. When a fugitive can file for asylum 1 day after arrest and effectively block deportation, the system is no longer functioning as intended. When multiple refugees from the same criminal sectors, illegal casinos, pogo-linked activities, underground gambling syndicates, all receive refugee protection, the issue stops becoming about a non-functioning system. It becomes about a system protecting criminals and compromising public safety. Mr. President, sa susunod po na linggo, didinigin po ng Subcommittee on Justice and Human Rights ang kaso ni Joseph C. at ang samut-saring mga paraan na ginagamit ng mga masasamang loob na dayuhan ang sistema at mekanismo ng ating gobyerno para hindi sila managot sa batas at magpatuloy ang kanilang masamang ginagawa. I have asked for this privileged speech to be referred to the same subcommittee para mahimay po ng mabuti ang mga magkakadikit-dikit na mga usaping ito. Marami pong salamat, Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move that the speech of the lady senator, Senator Risa Ontiveros, be referred to the Committee on Justice and Human Rights.
Hearing no objection, so referred.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, with the permission of the body, I move that we resume consideration on Senate Bill number 604 under Committee Report number 20. This is the national amendments to the National Commission Muslim Filipinos Act. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration of Senate Bill 604 is in order.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, there are no members who wish to interpolate the measure. Most of the interpolation was done earlier inside the lounge, and they no longer wanted to be listed as interpolators. I move to close the period of interpolation, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, period of interpolation is closed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, no member wishes as well to, or may move rather, to open the period of amendments. I so move.
Any objection? Hearing none, committee period of amendments is open.
I'll just ask for the record the sponsor, Senator Robin Hood Padilla, if there are any amendments, either individual or committee. He's saying that there are no committee amendments, Mr. President, nor individual. So
There
therefore
are
we
no
move to
committee
close.
amendments.
Yes, Mr. President.
Period of committee amendments is closed.
And period of individual amendments as well, Mr. President.
There are no period. There are no amendments. Period of individual amendments is closed.
Thank you. And for the record, Mr. President, this is a measure we passed in the last Congress, in the 19th Congress, I believe we supported this measure as well. So he just refiled, and hopefully he'll get the support that he needs in the lower house for this measure. With that, Mr. President, I move to approve on second reading Senate Bill number 604 under Committee Report number 20. I so move.
Any objection? Hearing none. Senate Bill 604 under Committee Report number 20 is approved on second reading.
Thank you, Mr. President. I move that we suspend consideration of the measure.
Consideration of the measure is suspended.
May I ask for a minute suspension, Mr. President?
Session suspended.
Ready to resume, Mr. President?
Session resumed.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move to resume consideration of Senate Bill number 1509 under Committee Report number 13. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none. Consideration of 1509 is in order.
This is an act establishing the Philippine Geriatric Center. We are in the period of interpellation, Mr. President. That's the status of the measure. I move that we recognize the sponsor, Senator Rizzo Ontiveros, and to interpellate our distinguished colleague, Senator Pia Ontiveros. P.S. Cayetano, Mr. President. Sorry.
Senator Risa Ontiveros is recognized to sponsor the measure, and Senator Pia Cayetano is recognized to interpellate.
Thank you, Mr. President. If the distinguished sponsor will agree to just a few questions, clarificatory questions.
Yes, very gladly, Mr. President.
Thank you, Mr. President. Senate Bill number 1509 is an act establishing the Philippine Geriatric Center, defining its purposes and objectives and appropriating funds thereof. Mr. President, my first concern when I saw this, of course, is to say, oh, I'm so glad that the elderly in our community are being given the attention that they need. I think no one will disagree that health is wealth. And sadly, we only realize it as we get older. So to establish a center that would recognize the importance of healthy aging is a good thing, and I congratulate the sponsor for that.
Thank you, Mr. President.
So on that note, what then concerns me, and it's a concern it's my way of thinking whenever I see a new bill, is how do we ensure that this bill achieves the purpose it was drafted. And the purpose is exactly as I said, if I may say it in a very light way, to healthy aging. How do we ensure that that is achieved? When I see that there is a center, meaning a specific center being constructed, then doon ako kinakabahan because I'm not a big fan of physical establishments. What I like to see is that an entire system is being established. At the proper time, I will propose amendments to ensure that this is a system that we are creating and not just a center. Because when I read the provisions of the bill, and this is basically Section 4 on purpose and objectives, ando naman. Magaganda naman yung objectives. I just don't want na lahat ito nandun lang sa isang center. So for example, and I asked my staff, and they told me that, and Her Honor can confirm, that there is no specific location for this.
Confirming, Mr. President.
Yes. So whether ilagay mo yan sa Ilocos, or sa Tawi-Tawi, or sa Metro Manila, hindi ako excited na doon lang may center. Kasi syempre ang gusto ko, lahat ng matatanda, makinabang. But again, as I said, when you look at the purpose, specifically D and E, this center is meant to provide consultancy services and technical assistance to DOH and other government agencies and medical institutions. And then it is also meant to provide technical assistance and capacity building in the establishment and maintenance of senior citizens wards in government hospitals. So kung talagang mahalaga itong letter C and D of Section 4, then it seems that it will go beyond that physical center, Mr. President.
Salamat, Mr. President. The good gentlewoman from Taguigan Pateros is right. Sa ngayon, wala pang nakataktang lugar kung saan itatayo ang PGC. And eventually, the DOH will base the site on objective criteria gaya ng accessibility, existing health infrastructure, and population need. And the gentlelady mentioned various parts of the country. And in fact, sa nagdaang hearing ng komite, minungkahi na silipin ng DOH ang feasibility of even repurposing abandoned pogo hubs in Metro Manila into PGC. And specifically, Mr. President, gentlelady, hindi nilagay sa panukalang batas specifically kung saan para may flexibility ang ating DOH kung saan ito akmang itayo. Ang malinaw, dapat may sprawling at open spaces ang pagtatayuan ng PGC. Minimum, kayang mag-accommodate ng at least 100 bed spaces. So modest at the outset, 100 bed spaces at may puwang for expansion kung kinakailangan. Pero kasabay po nun, Mr. President, gentlelady from Taguigan Pateros, kasabay ng pagtayo ng initial na kahit 100 bed capacity, ay isusulong na nga po yung purpose and objectives ng PGC. And binanggit na po ng gentlelady from Taguigan Pateros, binanggit na po yung dalawa dito, provide consultancy and technical assistance in setting geriatric care standards at saka assist in establishing and maintaining senior citizens wards in government hospitals and about at least 4 others. Importante po yung pag-assist sa pag-establish and maintain ng senior citizens wards in government hospitals dahil ibig sabihin, kahit pa hindi pa na itatayo ang buong PGC, mapipreempt nga yung pinangangambahan ng gentlelady na mako-concentrate lang sa isang lugar dahil sa kasalukuyan na nga, 33 out of 80 DOH hospitals na ang under monitoring and mentoring ng NGCH, yung kasalukuyang National Geriatric National Center for Geriatric Health para maging ganap ang pagkakaroon ng local geriatric center or wards. So ibig sabihin, yung wards pa lang dun sa mga DOH hospitals ay pwedeng simula na ng force multiplier para sa kahit 100 beds muna dun sa PGC at habang sinisimulan na rin isulong yung mga purposes and objectives ng PGC. For the record also, Mr. President, additionally, these purposes and objectives are provide affordable, quality, people-centered preventive, diagnostic, rehabilitative, and curative care for older persons, promote integrated geriatric health services nationwide in coordination with DOH, LGUs, and other stakeholders, conduct and publish scientific research on age-related diseases, at offer education and training on geriatric care for healthcare workers, social workers, academics, and volunteers. So, at the outset, hindi siya fixated na kaagad bonggang capital outlay or infra kaagad. Modest pa lang on that side. Pero force multiply sa mga DOH hospitals in terms of direct medical services and care. And then, sisimulan na yung ibang purposes and objectives ng eventual full-blown PGC, Mr. President.
Higher than the rates in Southeast Asian countries. Prevalence of dementia. 10% higher. But what is the prevalence? One in But how many of the, may ganun ba percentage of ano?
Thank you for that, Mr. President. I appreciate the explanation of Her Honor. In fact, I actually was going to say that DOH, I would like DOH, as I believe they're the implementing agency, no? That's correct.
Yes, Mr. President.
I would like DOH to take their time in identifying the proper spot because although we may start with modestly, no? So, you know, whether before you put up a 1 billion establishment, maybe it's 500 million. But I'd like to be a sprawling estate or what do you call it, area. Why? Because these are people in their senior years, no? And treatment will not, and when Her Honor said this is a minimum of 100 bed capacity, I know that we define our medical establishment by their bed capacity. 100 bed capacity, 200 bed capacity. But what I would like to see is the definition of this place is that, it has, let's say, 1 hectare walkable with trees all around it. So, and we are catering to, I don't know, 5,000, I'm making up the numbers, okay? We're catering to 5,000 outpatients who come here so that they can learn mindfulness, they can learn the benefits of yoga, healthy eating, mahuli man, late man lang nila malaman to, spend time maybe even with their grandchildren, because we've created now an environment where they want to grow, they want to get older. Like, they're not just going to go there to lie on the bed and be treated for a number of ailments which are common to the elderly. Parang for me, Mr. President, given na yon, di ba? What I'd like to see really is that it's state of the art, not only because it's the most scientifically advanced, we have the most expensive equipment, which would be nice. It would be a way of honoring our elderly if nandyan yung bagong MRI, di ba? Kasi sila naman yung nagkakasakit. Di syempre, gandahan, bumili ka na nung magagaling na equipment. But also, the simple things in life that many of them were deprived of. And what is this? Space, clean air. Kung gawing bakasyonan man yan, I would be happy to. Like, it's a geriatric and wellness hospital and resort. Something like that, Mr. President. Because I would love to age that way. I would love to be able to have a center where I can go to na pumunta ako doon to consult with my doctor, and then, well, hopefully this doesn't happen for another 25 years. But that is my dream for the elderly and for myself and for my children when they get older also, that you'll go to a place that also makes you happy. Hindi lang, I have to go there because I'm gonna die. You want to live well. So that will be the kind of amendments Her Honor can expect from me. Like, umpisahan na rin lang natin to. Let's make it state of the art. Let's make it an amazing place for people to want to visit and to want to avail of the services. I had a discussion because I happen to handle the budget of DSWD, and I told the secretary that I've come across, I think it's in one of the Nordic countries, dementia village. So that is my inspiration, that I was asking my team for our numbers, and currently as of 2020,
0.9% of the population po, yung make of the population, but of the senior citizens, we have 1 million
as of,
citizens.
yeah, but that's the percentage I want. As of 2020, we have 1 million senior citizens with dementia. So, but I'm not singling out dementia. There's a whole, maybe we have another million citizens who are not that mobile, that they need assistance. But do they need assistance, therefore give them a wheelchair? Or do they need to be in an environment where they will be taught how to exercise and take care of themselves so that they will not even need a wheelchair for the next 10 years? This is not even cutting-edge technology. This is basic care that we should be extending to our seniors. So my point, Mr. President, is although we have a young population, tatanda din lahat yan. So, tamang-tama talaga na ipasa natin ito, but let's take time to work hard on it. Let's work with DSWD, who sees the other dimension. I understand that the bill, it works clearly here, it states clearly here in Section 4F that the center will provide education and training for not just healthcare professionals, but also social workers and volunteer organizations. So tama to. It's really all in the right direction. I'm very excited to work with this, but we know that we have a shortage of shortage of healthcare workers. The more specialized, the bigger the shortage. Our current ratio for geriatric specialists to patient is 1 is to 60,000. So, ang konti nun, di ba? Sobrang konti ng ating specialist. But I always say in every interpellation, whether it's education or health, you can expand their services by precisely training other other workers. So you train the social worker, you train the barangay health worker, you train the volunteer organizations. All of that is already in the bill, which is what excites me, because you may only have one geriatric specialist, but then you have a battalion of trained personnel. So like, you'll have the nurse who specialize in geriatrics. You'll have the technicians na sanay sa matatanda, may malaking pasensya sa matatanda. You have these volunteers. And my dream actually, Mr. President, is also to have care services for children, especially the neglected children, near the care services for the elderly, because they naturally need each other, the young and the old, and they naturally have experience to share with each other. The elderly can be nurturing to the young ones, and the young ones can provide the kind of physical support that these elderly lack. So these are just observations, Mr. President's ideas that I'm just dumping on the sponsor. Any response will be welcome.
Thank you.
I just wanted to share that.
Thank you so much for those, Mr. President. The good sponsors' advice about DOH taking its time will be very well taken. Ngayon pa lamang, dahil kino-contemplate po ng bill, ini-imagine niya that the PGC, the Philippine Geriatric Center, siyempre, depende sa diskarte ng DOH, could undergo a 5 to 7 years phased implementation, at least, mula po sa planning, site selection, construction, hiring, soft to full operations. Of course, as the good sponsor, as Her Honor mentioned, ang pinakamalaking hamon ay workforce shortage, bukod sa funding sustainability, interagency coordination at integration sa UHC at LGU networks, pati na ang pagsisiguro na makarating ang serbisyo sa mga rehiyon. And speaking of workforce shortage, again on point ang observation ng Her Honor, ang kakulangan pa talaga ng mga specialists natin para sa geriatric care. In fact, right now, based sa datos, 173 lang ang active geriatricians sa buong bansa. In a population approaching 120 million in the next few years, na slowly lumalaki din ang percentage ng mga older persons, kung kaya't in a few years, magigit na tayong slowly aging population. So this is one of the areas for workforce development and training. Maging national training hub ang PGC for geriatricians, nurses, therapists, and allied professionals. Ang ganda ng pangarap ng Her Honor tungkol sa physical look and feels ng PGC. It would be wonderful kung magkaroon nga tayo ng 1 hectare, walkable, puno ng puno, malinis ang hangin. In such a setting, pwede tayong hindi lang mangarap pero magplano dun sa magnitude na sinabi ni Her Honor na 5,000 outpatients. Malay natin, sa ngayon kasi, sa kasalukuyang National Center for Geriatric Health, dun po sa Jose Arias Memorial Medical Center, lumalabas 230 plus ang kanilang outpatient cases every day.
Per day.
Opo. So ang laking force multiplier kung magkaroon ng in good time, without, while taking time, but in good time, magkaroon ng isang PGC na mas maluwag at mas may espasyo para sa outpatients seeking to cure or maintain their health, Mr. President.
I was just about to react, Mr. President, to that number, 230 outpatients. Can you imagine, Mr. President, 230 yan, malamang umaga pa lang nakapila na dyan. Malamang nakaupo lang yan sa bangko. Malamang, lately ko lang nakita yung nauuso na yung pila na may upuan, di ba? Matatanda na rin yan. Of course, sitting is the new smoking, but when you're not feeling well, you need to sit down, di ba? Mahirap na yung nakatayo ka, pumipila ka. Can you imagine, is even if we don't even add to the number of patients that can be accommodated. Pero itong 230, nandun sa may ilalim ng puno, nandun muna tinuturuan mag-meditation or kung anumang sayawan habang inaantay nila yung appointment nila. Di kaya mas okay yun, or nandun sila sa isang room na they can listen to calm music, they can watch
performing arts, I don't know. But there's so much that they can do in lieu of just standing in line. That
Yes.
already, to me, would be already a more pleasant experience. Hindi ho ba, Madam, Mr. President?
Opo, Mr. President. At Her Honor is right. At malamang kahit sa mga kinakailangang mag-inpatient, even for a while, mas maging positive yung healing experience nila, yung patient experience nila, kung yung PGC ay magkaroon nga ng 100-bed capacity kumpara sa kasalukuyang 25-bed capacity lamang dun sa kasalukuyang National Center for Geriatric Health ng JRR
Na 25 lang.
MMC.
Oo,
25
napakaliit,
lamang,
napakaliit.
Mr. President. Napakaliit po
Yes.
talaga. So, lumalabas, nasa 8 o 10 nakatatanda ang ina-admit nila araw-araw. And of course, we're always talking not just about the quantity but the quality of the care. So, maparami na yung kayang serbisyohan, outpatient man o inpatient, and then mas gumanda din yung at least yung setting for a high quality of care, Mr.
And
President.
idagdag ko na po dyan kasi I know her honor is taking notes, no?
Opo.
Na yung meron din tayong facility that the loved ones can stay in, parang hostel type man lang for the loved ones na nag-aalaga nung kanilang elderly loved ones. So in other words, kung may serious case yun na kailangan nga niya ng inpatient care, sometimes hindi yan iiwanan ng anak di ba? Tapos saan yan magsistay? I mean, it's a nightmare. So sana kasama din yan sa planning nila, di ba? Parang kahit dormitory style para they still are near their loved ones. In the US, I think familiar ang ating kasamahan. They call it it's a volunteer program. It's called the Ronald McDonald House. There's a whole movie on this. I watched it on the plane one day. This female doctor, I don't know if it's in the 1950s, she ended up creating that whole support system for people with serious ailments. Kasi yung specialty niya, if I'm not mistaken, was blood disorders, and a lot of them had a high chance of dying, so they needed long-term care in the hospital. So, naghanap siya ng paraan na may private funders who would put up this facility. So, I wanted to be part of this dream for a holistic geriatric center because who of us want to be sick or die alone? Di ba? We would want to be near our loved ones. And of course, like I said, maingat ako dun sa pagtatayo ng physical facility na yan, but the reality is you need that physical facility. So kung mapunta ka man doon at malayo yan sa hometown mo, until nakapagpatayo tayo or napaganda natin yung mga regional hospitals and their own geriatric wards or geriatric departments, then I want them to be able to have a facility for their loved ones to, if not just visit, but also stay. So, isama ho natin yan sa wish list natin.
Very well noted, Mr. President, Your Honor, this matter of nearby or accessible dorms, kung hindi man sa ilalim din ng direct supervision ng Department of Health, at least maybe some
Maybe
kind of
DSWD
referral
can
system
have
nearby.
something like that.
Opo.
Or
Or lalo na in cooperation sa local health board
Yes.
or yung LGU na magkaroon ng ganyang ding referral system for the family or even friends who would accompany the patient kapag inpatient services ang avail of niya. And salamat dun sa halimbawa, Mr. President, Your Honor, tungkol dun sa isang modelo sa United States, napaiisip tuloy tayo na we could also explore public-private partnerships if the
definitely.
DOH would be open to that, lalo na kapag isinusulong na itong mga purposes and objectives ng PGC sa iba't ibang rehiyon ng ating bansa, Mr. President.
Yes. So siguro, Mr. President, hanggang dito na lang muna ako kasi these are just some thoughts that I have, some initial observations. Again, I thank the sponsor kasi maganda talaga yung layunin na to. And at the proper time, we will make our amendments, but at least na paalam na natin sa sponsor yung direksyon ng ating mga amendments, Mr. President.
Maraming salamat, Mr. President, at maraming salamat po, Your Honor. I'll be eagerly awaiting those proposed amendments.
Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Before I, is there any other response? We'll suspend. Before we suspend the measure, Mr. President. Senator Robin Hood Padilla, I think. Yeah, we'll suspend. Mr. President, I move that we, before we suspend, I move that we, of course, with the consent of the body, that there is a related measure, so I move that we include the Senate Bill number 1500 or 1500 titled Geriatric Act, Health Act of Senator Villar to be included in the Committee Report 13 for the body's reference and consideration. I so move, Mr. President.
Any objection? Hearing none, motion's approved.
Thank you very much, Mr. President. Mr. President, I move to suspend consideration of the measure.
I beg pardon?
Suspend consideration of the measure.
Session suspended.
No,
Oh, no,
the consideration of the measure.
Consideration of the measure suspended.
Yes, thank you, Mr. President. Pagod na rin tayo lahat, Mr. President. Mahirap talaga pag budget ang pinag-uusapan ng for almost 3 weeks. But sponsorships, are you ready for your sponsorships? May I move for the additional reference of business, Mr. President?
Secretary will proceed with the additional reference of business.
Second additional reference to business, message of the President of the Philippines. Letter of His Excellency President Ferdinand R. Marcos Jr. dated 10 October 2025, submitting for the Senate's consideration and concurrence the Asia-Pacific Regional Convention on the Recognition of Qualifications in Higher Education, Tokyo Convention, which was adopted on 26 November 2011 in Tokyo, Japan.
Refer to the Committee on Foreign Relations.
Bills on first reading, Senate number 1590, an act providing for the regulation and disposal of biomedical waste, declaring certain acts unlawful and prescribing penalties therefore, Senator Villar C.
To the Committees on Health, Local Government, and Finance.
Senate number 1591, an act to develop the Philippine corn industry, enhance the availability and affordability of quality feeds and staple food, and provide for a corn competitiveness enhancement fund, Senator Villar C.
To the Committees on Agriculture, Ways and Means, and Finance.
Senate number 1592, an act declaring October 5 of every year as Philippine Meningitis Day, Senator Villar C.
To the Committee on Health.
Senate number 1594, an act granting Philippine citizenship to Elizabeth Jeanette Means, Senators Cayetano P., Cayetano AP, and Go.
To the Committee on Rules.
Senate number 1595, an act granting Philippine citizenship to Benny Francois Boatwright III, Senators Cayetano P., Cayetano AP, and Go.
To the Committee on Rules.
Senate number 1596, an act granting Philippine citizenship to Maodo Malik Duf, Senators Cayetano P., Cayetano AP, and Go.
To the Committee on Rules.
Senate number 1597, an act to regulate the resale of tickets to concerts, events, sporting activities, and other public gatherings, prohibiting unauthorized scalping and prescribing penalties therefore, Senator Tulfo R.
Refer to the Committee on Trade.
Committee Report 21, prepared and submitted jointly by the Committees on Health and Demography, Social Justice, Welfare and Rural Development, and Finance. On Senate number 1593, with Senators Lacson, Go, Marcos, Tulfo R., and Ontiveros as authors. An act establishing the Universal Healthcare Medical Assistance Program, integrating therewith the Medical Assistance to Indigent and Financially Incapacitated Persons Program, and providing funds therefore. Recommending its approval in substitution of Senate numbers 404, 409, 1460, and 1473. Sponsor, Senator Ontiveros.
To the calendar for ordinary business. Majority Leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, may we transfer from the calendar of ordinary business to special order 1593. Are you ready for 1593? Yes? 1593. Senate Bill number 1593 under Committee Report number 21. Yung sa lupus kasi, we're going to, kami ni Mark magkako-sponsor din. I so move, Mr. President. This is
Which,
1593.
what are you moving for? What Senate bill?
Senate Bill number 1593 under Committee Report number 21.
Senate Bill 1593 under Committee Report 21.
Yes, Mr. President.
All right. Any objection? Hearing none. Consideration is in order.
May we ask the Secretary to read the title of the measure?
Secretary will read the title of the measure.
An act establishing the Universal Healthcare Medical Assistance Program, integrating therewith the Medical Assistance to Indigent and Financially Incapacitated Persons Program, and providing funds therefore.
Mr. President, we recognize the sponsor, our distinguished Deputy Majority Floor Leader, Senator Risa Ontiveros, to sponsor the measure.
Senator Risa Ontiveros is recognized to sponsor the measure.
Salamat po, Mr. President. Mr. President, I rise to sponsor the Universal Healthcare Medical Assistance Program Act, a reform that strengthens our universal healthcare system and delivers one clear message. Walang Pilipinong dapat maiwanan sa oras ng pagkakasakit. Every day, our hospitals receive patients who are not only battling illness, but also the fear of financial ruin. This bill responds with a simple guarantee. Kung may sakit, hindi ka mag-iisa. Handa ang gobyernong tulungan ka. Walang kapalit, walang kondisyon. This measure not only institutionalizes the current medical assistance for indigent and financially incapacitated patients, MAIFIP program, it also aligns and unifies it under one transparent, accountable framework consistent with our commitment to truly universal health care. The UHC Medical Assistance Program, or UHC MAP, ensures that indigent and financially struggling patients receive assistance for hospitalization, outpatient care, diagnostics, medicines, and professional fees with low to no co-payment after PhilHealth and other deductions. The program's coverage will be available to indigent patients and to financially incapacitated individuals, those who may not be classified as poor, but who clearly cannot afford the high and often catastrophic cost of medical treatment. These include patients with life-threatening illnesses, prolonged hospitalizations, or extremely expensive therapies that would otherwise push families into debt or destitution. Their financial status will be assessed fairly and professionally by registered social workers, ensuring that the assistance reaches those who truly need it most. Eligibility will be determined solely by registered social workers. Applications must be processed within 72 hours, and all data will be protected under strict privacy rules. An integrated database will prevent double charging and safeguard public funds. To further strengthen our public health system nationwide, the bill dedicates at least 30% of the UHC MAP fund to our LGU-run and SUC hospitals, many of which serve the poorest and most medically underserved communities. Funding will be based on performance, improved referral systems, and stronger local health networks. Ngayon pa lang po, magpapaumanhin tayo sa posibilidad na magbago ang kalakaran sa pag-access ng UHC Medical Assistance Program. Diretso na sa hospital. At mas malakit pinalakas na papel ng medical social services. Towards this end, we also ensure that our social workers and program implementers are shielded from pressures, threats, or coercion. The program's funds will be fully auditable by the COA with strict anti-fraud mechanisms and penalties for misuse. And in times of disaster or public health emergencies, the DOH may fast-track applications so that help reaches our people when they need it most. Mr. President, this is a clean, efficient, compassionate reform. It strengthens universal health care. It restores dignity to patients. It protects public money. And it ensures that health remains what it should always be, a right, not a privilege, not a favor. Lastly, Mr. President, nais ko ring ipaalam sa plenary na ang pinapanukala nating UHC Medical Assistance Act ay hindi po forever. Unless extended by an act of Congress, the UHC MAP shall remain in force for 10 years from its effectivity. Nilagay po natin ang provision na ito dahil sa pangarap nating tunay na universal healthcare, kung saan umaasa tayo na ang DOH at PhilHealth ay makakapagpababa ng husto ng out-of-pocket expenses at makakamit ang zero o no balance billing. Kaya nagpapasalamat po ako kina Senator Ping Lacson, Vice Chair Bongo, Senator Amy Marcos at Senator Raffy Tulfo sa kanilang mga panukalang batas na may kinalaman sa MAIFIP. Dahil dito, nabigyan tayo ng pagkakataong i-align ang programang ito sa pangarap nating universal healthcare at sapat na financial protection para sa ating mga kababayang nangangailangan. I respectfully seek the support of this chamber for the passage of the UHC Medical Assistance Program Act. Marami pong salamat, Mr. President.
Majority Leader.
Mr. President, our distinguished colleague from Davao and Batangas, Senator Bongo, would also like to deliver his co-sponsorship speech of the same measure.
Senator Christopher Bongo is recognized.
Mr. President, esteemed colleagues, just a manifestation po. First of all, we support the original intent of this measure, which institutionalizes the medical assistance program of the government. Gusto natin ma-streamline, mabilis po yung tulong at wag pong pahirapan yung mga pasyente. Maraming pasyente pa rin po ang nakaasa sa medical assistance programs ng gobyerno. Yung iba nagmamakaawa, pumipila kahit saan para makahingi lang po ng tulong. Hindi lang po sa atin dito sa Senado, kundi sa iba't ibang LGUs at yung iba nagsusulisit po. At dahil na rin yan sa kakulangan ng PhilHealth coverage, kulang talaga. Minsan may mga hospital billings sinasagot ng PhilHealth is less than 1%. At sa patuloy na pagkakaroon po ng out-of-pocket spending ng mga mahihirap na pasyente, alam naman natin na hirap pong magkasakit at malaki pa rin po ang out-of-pocket spending ng mga pasyente. Kaya importante po na masiguro natin na tuloy-tuloy ang medical assistance program ng gobyerno. We also want to clearly legislate the protection from political interference. Dapat po walang matanggihan ng mga pasyente, walang pinipili, walang politika. Hindi na po dapat lumapit sa politiko para humingi ng tulong sa kanilang pagpapa-hospital. Kung sino yung nangangailangan ng tulong, doon po ibigay ang tulong. Ang layunin po natin dito magkaroon ng maasahang serbisyo at tulong para sa mga pasyente. Having said that, Mr. President, I want to make off record that it is important to streamline and harmonize the processes outlined in the bill with the current practice and processes, which is also in line with existing laws. Importante po ito para hindi malito at guided at mag-guide po ng mabuti ang mga pasyente kung saan ba sila hihingi ng tulong at lalapit. Padaliin natin at simplihan natin ang proseso. Yan po ang layunin po ng batas. Ito pong Republic Act 11463. Ito pong Malasakit Centers Act na ipinasa natin sa noong 18th Congress headed by Senate President Tito Soto at mga kasamahan natin dito, Senator Riza, Senator Mig Subiri. Na one-stop shop po ito sa mga medical assistance sa pantulong po sa mga pasyente. Batas na po ito na pinasa natin para maging accessible at mas convenient para sa mga pasyente ang pagbibigay serbisyo ng gobyerno. Wala po siyang sariling pondo. One-stop shop po siya. Andiyan na po yung PCSO, DSWD, DOH at ang ito pong PhilHealth. And currently we have 167 malasakit centers nationwide. All DOH hospitals are also mandated to establish and maintain malasakit centers. Pag LGU naman sila ang nagme-maintain nito. In line with this law, in my original bill, malasakit centers shall continue to facilitate the provision of medical assistance in hospitals with existing malasakit centers. Sa ngayon po, more than 15 million Filipinos na po ang natulungan ng malasakit centers. Pwede po silang lumapit sa malasakit centers dahil doon po kadalasan located sa Medical Social Services Unit ng mga hospital. desk lang po siya, kwarto po siya ng hospital. Andiyan dyan na po yung PhilHealth, PCSO, DOH at DSWD. Or yung iba po, maliit na kwarto, magkakatabi po yung mga upuan nila. Ang importante, guided yung mga pasyente sa kanilang lalapitan. At it is headed by a medical social worker ang nag-head po ng malasakit centers. At ito naman po sana ang ating gustong mangyari na hindi po mahirapan ng mga pasyente. Guided po sila na, ayan na yung one-stop shop na paghingan po nila ng tulong mula sa iba't ibang ehensya ng gobyerno. Ang layunin po ng aking bill na isinulong, ito pong pag-institutionalize ng MAIP or Medical Assistance Program, ay para po doon sa part ng DOH na meron pong pangtulong doon sa apat na agencies. Dahil para yearly na po, funded na po at maging ma-institutionalize na po yung MAIP na part po ng Malasakit Center. Malaking tulong po ito sa ating mga kababayan ng Malasakit Center dahil nga po one-stop shop po siya na hindi na nila kailangan lumabas pa ng hospital sa paghingi ng tulong. Noon po, wala pang Malasakit Center, lalapit sila sa mga city offices, provincial offices ng PCSO, ubos na yung pamasahe nila, ubos pa yung panahon nila sa kakapila, minsan madaling araw pa lang, humingi na sila ng tulong. Napakalayo sa ospital, naiiwan pa nila ang kanilang mga pasyente, tapos pupunta na naman sila pangalawang araw sa DOH, hingi ng tulong, pupunta po sila sa PhilHealth, ubos yung panahon, isang linggo po sa paghingi ng tulong. With Malasakit Center, andyan na po yung isang kwarto na pwede nilang paglalapitan. Pero yung intention po ng aking bill na i-final ay ma-institutionalize yung isang parte o bahagi ng Malasakit Center. Ito pong sa DOH, ito po yung Medical Assistance Program na tuloy-tuloy po ang kanilang ma-avail na tulong mula sa gobyerno. Dahil unang-una, pera po ng taong bayan yan. Pera ng Pilipino yan na pwede nilang i-avail. We just want to emphasize na pwedeng lumapit sa Malasakit Center sa mga ospital na mayroon. Dahil iisang opisina lang naman po sila ng Medical Social Services Unit, and we can possibly put it or slash po na lalapitan po nila aside from Medical Social Services Unit or Social Service Head ang lalapitan nila, pwede rin sila lumapit doon sa help desk ng Malasakit. For this reason, at the proper time, we wish to harmonize the provisions of the bill with the processes already laid out in the law and current processes in the availment of the medical assistance program to avoid confusion and to properly guide patients. We look forward working with a good sponsor on this point. Maraming salamat po, Mr. President.
Sir, the leader.
Thank you, Mr. President. Mr. President, I'll allow our colleagues to study the measure further. I move that we suspend consideration of the measure.
Any objection? Hearing none, consideration suspended.
So, Mr. President, there being no other matters on their agenda, I move that we adjourn session until Monday, December 15, 2026 at 3 p.m. There you go, Mr. President. I so move. Enjoy the weekend, sir.
Any objection? Hearing none, I move, well, the motion is to move,
To adjourn.
to adjourn the session. There is no objection. The session is adjourned until 3 o'clock in the afternoon of Monday, December 15, 2025.
Have a safe weekend po, everyone.